Week 14, some running backs that can help you win, and guys you should try to target here on waivers. The first guy's Cam Akers of the Los Angeles Rams. He's a guy I've been saying for weeks now to go target on the wire, and this might be the last week you have a shot at getting him. He's still available in 48% of leagues, but he had a great game for fantasy. 21 carries, 72 yards, a rushing touchdown, and a catch for 22 yards. We saw Darrell Henderson go down early in the game, but then he came back and ran a ball in for 38-yard touchdown. But anyway, Akers, he looked good. He looked like a guy that, once again, he gave this offense some energy, and he made some plays. He barreled a few guys to get in the end zone, and then after Akers got them going, the Rams took off, and they never looked back. Like I said, this guy could easily be a three-down back. I know his blocking's been a problem, but he passes the eye test, and in my opinion, he's the best running back over there in Los Angeles already. I know Henderson, like I said, had the big run, but that was fluky. He didn't do much this year, and especially the last few weeks is Henderson. So Akers, he's a guy I'm going to target, and he's a guy I could possibly start if we know he's going to get more workload like he did today with the 22 total touches. So he's the first guy. The second guy I'm looking at on the wire is Ty Johnson of the New York Jets. Frank Gore, he went down in this ball game early, and he never came back, and who knows how long Gore's going to be out. But Ty Johnson, he filled in well when he had a huge workload. 22 carries, 104 yards, a rushing touchdown, and 2 catches for 13 yards. So a nice 19.5-point fantasy day for Johnson. The Jets are finished. That was their only chance, I think, to win the rest of the season. They blew that ball game. And now there's no reason to rush Gore back or even play him much. You play these kids. Like I said, Johnson looked good. LaMichael Pirine, he's out a few more weeks. And the Jets next week, they're at Seattle. Tough ball game. But if Johnson's a starter, he's a guy you definitely should take a flyer on and get. And he's available in 99% of fantasy leagues. So take a look at him and get him. The third guy's Adrian Peterson. Peterson with another 2-touchdown game back-to-back weeks now. And the thing is with Swift, I don't know if Swift's coming back. He's been out 3 weeks now with the concussion, is DeAndre Swift. Peterson, 16 carries, 57 yards, and those 2 rushing touchdowns for 17.7 fantasy points. It was a good game for Peterson. We know he's getting short yardage. He's getting a big workload. Kerryon Johnson, he didn't really do much in this game. And Peterson, he still has the heart. We saw him get that game-winning touchdown at the end, and he was all pumped up and ready to go. And like I said, he had 16 touches to Johnson's 5. So Peterson, he's a guy I'll target. I don't know with Swift, like I said, and that's why it's been 3 weeks. We don't know when he's coming back. Supposedly it was the illness, not the concussion that made him miss the game. But anyway, I would get Peterson just in case. In worst case, you stash him on the bench. He's available still in 52% of leagues, so look out for him. The next guy I'm looking to target on the wire is Ito Smith. He was on the list last week. And once again, he's going to be on it here. Todd Gurley, he was in and out of this ball game with that knee injury. And then we saw Smith get a decent workload. 9 total touches in the game. 8 carries, 36 yards, and 1 catch for -2 yards. So Smith, he seems like he's the backup now. He got banged up as well, but Todd Gurley, like I've said early in the season, that knee's not going to hold up. Who knows how much longer he's going to be able to play this season, because he looked slow. He looked in pain. Gurley, he definitely gutted it out, but he wasn't the same in this game. And Ito Smith, he looked pretty sharp in his 9 touches. So Ito Smith, available in 95% of leagues. He's a guy to keep in mind and a guy to look at the wire. And the next guy, Cordell Patterson of the Chicago Bears. Patterson, he qualifies in most fantasy leagues as a running back and a receiver. And he had a good workload in this game. 10 carries, 59 yards, and a rushing touchdown, and 1 catch for 4 yards. So Patterson, he's available in 93% of leagues. He got a good workload, even though Montgomery, he led all running backs in fantasy points so far this week. But Cordell Patterson, he's a guy to keep an eye on. Like I said, he's a dual threat, and he could qualify a receiver and running back. So he's a good guy to add his depth, and to see him get 11 touches in this game, that's pretty good. And for him to get a goal line touchdown, The next running back I would look to take and get on waivers this week is Le'Veon Bell of the Kansas City Chiefs. Bell, he was the bell cow in that ball game versus the Denver Broncos here. Bell with 11 carries, 40 yards, 2 catches, and 15 yards. Bell, he's available still in 40% of leagues. We saw Clyde Edwards-Helaire, he was active and he was on the sidelines. And if you had to make the playoffs and you had Edwards-Helaire in the ball game and he didn't play, that could have messed up a lot of owners for making the playoffs or whatever the deal is, or getting a bye. But anyway, Le'Veon Bell, he had the full workload. Helaire, we know, had an illness, so he might have been active as an emergency running back, but he didn't get 1 carry in the game. Bell and Darrell Williams, they got the carries in this game, and Bell, he looked decent on some runs, and some runs he couldn't do nothing. But Bell, I would take a flyer on him if Edwards-Helaire is going to be out, because we don't know now. He was active, like I said, it was probably an emergency, but still, Bell's a guy I'm going to take a look at here heading into Week 14 on waivers. The next running back to get on waivers here is J.D. McKissic. We saw him have a huge ball game after Antonio Gibson went down with the ankle with a toe injury, whatever it was, but he was out early in the game. McKissic, 10 catches for 70 yards in this one. And this guy, we seen him this year go on runs where he had high targets and lining up it as a receiver. And we saw him once again in this game. Washington, they were down 14-0 at one point. That's when McKissic, they started using him a lot where they had no choice but to pass. And he got a few carries as well. So 17 fantasy points for McKissic. He's a guy available in 52% of fantasy leagues, and he's a guy you must go get, especially now if Gibson's going to miss time, because he was ruled out right away with that right foot or ankle injury, and it didn't look good for him. McKissic, he's going to be the passing and third downs back guy there in Washington, and obviously the early roles now will go to Peyton Barber, but I'll get to Barber in a minute. But McKissic, like I said, the targets have been there for him even when Gibson was healthy. In this ball game, they were trailing. Washington, they got a tough schedule coming up, but this is a team that's defense keeps them in the ball games, and their offense just does enough like they did versus Pittsburgh to win. So J.D. McKissic's a guy, if he's out there somehow in your league, you better go get him, man. Because if he's going to get an expanded role now in this offense, he's a guy that could have put up huge numbers and help you win playoff games and possibly a championship. And the next guy's Peyton Barber, his teammates. If Gibson's going to miss time, Barber will be the goal line and the short yardage guy. But besides that, he's not going to have much value, is Barber. I think his best days are behind him as exploding and getting a lot of yards. But he's a guy that's touchdown dependent. He's gonna be goal line and short yardage. And in this game, we saw what I'm talking about. He had 14 carries for I think 26 yards and a touchdown, something along those lines. Where Barber, he could get you a cheap 8 to 10 points. So he's a guy you still got to keep in mind and look to get in. He's available in 95% of fantasy leagues. So that's a few running backs I'm looking to add on waivers here heading into Week 14 and the playoffs.